Good afternoon. Welcome to the Middletown Fire Station. I am so excited to tell you about the projects and developers that stand before you today. Thank you, Mayor Fisher, Metro Council members, and Louisville Metro government for entrusting us with the funds to show what can truly happen when trust funds are funded. Yes. We can show you now what can happen when developers know that there is money that may be available for their projects, and what is possible for the residents of our community when we all work together to make safe, quality, affordable housing a priority in this community. Before I announce the projects, I first want to thank our program committee. Since October, this group has reviewed some 40 applications requesting more than $19 million in loans and grants from the trust fund. So you know we didn't have that much, right? We've spent hours underwriting projects and talking to developers to make the awards announced here today. Thanks to all of you for your service and commitment to our community. And if anyone is on our program committee out there, could you please stand? They all have other jobs, so we understand. Next, I would like to thank my board of directors for all of your support and hours of volunteerism with the trust fund. My board chair, Travis Yates, he's back there trying to hide. All who serve. Bill Hollander is on our board. He's back here. He's trying to hide too. Come up front, Bill. All of them, and Chris Harrigan, thank you, Chris. All of them serve and believe that Louisville Metro can be a better place for all. And every day they work to make that happen. To you, I say thank you. And finally, thank you to our advocates, Clout, Kentuckians for the Commonwealth, and countless others who go before Metro Council and put a face on the housing shortage in our community. They make it real. Thank you for your time and commitment. Now for the purpose of the day. Nearly $9 million in funding, 1,115 units, of which more than 1,000 are unduplicated units, and leverage funds brought into this community of more than $150 million. The big point about this is also that nearly $5 million will be returned to the trust fund over the coming years so that we can continue to do this over and over again. This is what happens when a trust fund is fully funded. So now I am happy and proud to announce the following funding recipients. And as I just call your name, could you just raise your hand, stand up, or what have you? Winterwood Property Management. They're receiving $175,000 in GAP funding to rehab and improve 27 units of housing for Rivertown Apartments in Old Louisville. LDG Development. They're receiving $1.74 million that we're funding 158 of 316 new units in a development called Jefferson Green, and it is near Jefferson Mall. What I like about this project, amenities will include a business center, fitness center, and a clubhouse. Jefferson Green also will be a limited access gated community. The Housing Partnership has a few projects. $1 million to renovate and upgrade York Towers. $1 million to develop, in partnership with Urban Acupuncture, 24 new construction units in the Portland neighborhood targeted towards immigrant families. $30,000 to partner with the local unions to build a home on vacant property for sale to a homeless veteran. They are working with the Veterans Administration to identify potential buyers. $566,000 to create 9 units of housing for the disabled. This project is called Day Spring Community Living. And $225,000 to rehab and renovate 11 houses in the California and Portland neighborhoods for sale to low-income families. Habitat for Humanity will receive $450,000 for the new construction of 15 homes, primarily in the Richmont Terrace and Park Springs subdivisions. New Directions Housing and River City Housing will receive a total of $350,000 to renovate and sell 7 vacant properties in the Shelby Park Revitalization Project. River City Housing also has teamed up with the House of Ruth, and they are going to receive $58,000 to rehab a duplex in the Shelby Park neighborhood for families with AIDS. The Walbuck Company will receive $266,000 in gap funding to renovate the Lions Arms 1 apartments off Terry Road. APK Development will receive $189,000 to rehab 5 properties in West Louisville for sale to low-income buyers. DF Property Holdings, Brett and his team, will receive $330,000 to renovate and sell 11 properties to families. BlackRock LLC will receive $100,000 to transform a vacant warehouse in Smoketown to 12 units of affordable housing. And there are several activities in the Russell neighborhood to complement the activities already going on there. Allied Argenta, a new developer coming into our community, will receive $500,000 in gap funding to rehab and renovate the Henry Green Apartments on West Jefferson Street. Telesis Corporation, owner of Cityview Apartments, are undertaking a massive renovation. The trust fund will provide $1 million in gap funding for the 503-unit complex. Glorious Outcomes Development, comprised of the mother-daughter team of Yvonne and Crystal McAfee, will receive almost $34,000 to rehab a vacant property for a low-income family to purchase a home. And Rebound Incorporated will receive $300,000 to renovate 4 properties near the Cedar Street development. Allied Argenta and 13th Episcopal District AME Church will receive $200,000 to renovate and rehab greater community apartments in the Portland neighborhood. And finally, proving that providing housing choice really works and is a total win for all. HPI will receive $250,000 in gap funding to develop the Middletown Apartments next door, right next door, creating 80 units of housing and choice for families. I told you, we have been extremely busy. One of the things we are also committed to do is to help develop capacity for those developers that have good ideas, not quite there, but are getting there. So we're working with Blair Butler and Milton Haskins to create Lovey's House. It will be a home for boys aging out of foster care at 32nd and Greenwood. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce Barry Barker, who is the Executive Director of TARC and Board Chair for the Housing Partnership. Thank
you. The way we had this set up, I was not going to be introduced as the Director of TARC, and we were going to go through and people were going to wonder, gee, that guy looks an awful lot like the guy who runs TARC. Anyway, let me also introduce Andrew Hawes, who's the acting president of HPI. And it's a real pleasure to be here with HPI and with the board of directors. The folks who are staff or directors of HPI, if you just, all right. Thank you all. It's a real pleasure to be here to celebrate the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund's awards that you've just heard, and to officially launch the Middletown Apartments, which are right next door, and we'll get to that. Middletown Apartments is a signature development for HPI, for the Kentucky Housing Corporation, for Louisville Metro Government, and for Louisville's Affordable Housing and Trust Fund. This development will produce 80 units of quality, affordable housing here in Middletown. It will consist of 20 single-bedroom apartments, 40 two-bedroom apartments, and 20 three-bedroom apartments. The apartments will be reserved for families earning up to 60% of the area's median income. Each family will have access to top-performing schools at all levels: Height Elementary, Crosby Middle School, and Eastern High School. Middletown Apartments is ideally situated near an abundance of employment opportunities, including the Ford Kentucky truck plant and numerous retail shopping destinations: banks, restaurants, urgent care center, Walmart, Target, and even a Tark stop. A project like this, and you've heard, you know, this, there's the old expression of it takes a village, but as you start to listen, you understand it really does take a village to make this stuff work. And a project like this would not have been possible without the financial support of Hope of Kentucky for its $1.3 million land acquisition financing, Billy Wade, Executive Director. Kentucky Housing Corporation for its $1.2 million housing credit allocation, Tracy Thurston and Trina Shields. And PNC Bank, which purchased the housing credits, providing $1.5 million in equity, Chuck Denny and Ryan Edwards. I feel like the Oscars all over again. Louisville Metro Government for an $850,000 low-interest loan through the Louisville CARES program. Thank you to Gabe Fitz and Marilyn Harris. And the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund for a $250,000 low-interest loan from Christy McCravey. Thank you. And then Citizens Union Bank for $3.6 million for the first mortgage. Tammy Thomas, thank you. We would also like to thank Mayor Greg Fisher for his continued support of affordable housing through the creation of Louisville CARES and Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Funds. But for these two resources, Middletown Apartments would not become a reality. Additionally, we want to thank Middletown Mayor Byron Chapman and the Middletown City Council for their invaluable support and input. Thank you, Byron. He was here somewhere, I know. Right behind me. Okay. And thank you, everyone, really, for being supportive of HPI and of the various other developers. Thank you.
Okay, next, we will hear from Chanel Smith. We are in Councilwoman Julie Denton's district, District 19, and we will be represented by Chanel Smith.
As she said, my name is Chanel Smith. I'm the legislative assistant for Councilwoman Julie Denton, who is very sorry that she couldn't be here. So she sent me to represent the district and to say welcome. We're very excited about this beautiful project that's coming to District 19. And we wanted to honor the groundbreaking ceremony today with a proclamation just to show our support. And who do I... There you go. Welcome to District 19. Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Okay, I think you know we're in Middletown, so we're going to hear from the mayor, Mr. Byron Chapman.
Well, afternoon. I'm glad to see such a good turnout here in Middletown. You're welcome into our city. I'm seeing some new faces. Some of you may have not been in Middletown for a while. And as you came through, I think you'll be back to see what's happening, what's going on. You know, I was asked to make this a short speech. A couple of minutes, I believe, is what I was restricted to. Now, that's not good on election year, is it? We need more than that, but we'll take what we've got. But I am so glad that you're here. You know, Middletown is growing. In the years, we offer a lot in Middletown for the residents and for the businesses of our community. We offer a lot of support, commitment. We offer protection, and we're just constantly ramping up what we can do for businesses. Have the Chamber of Commerce represented here. The Chamber of Commerce in Middletown is extremely strong. Their goal, you ask any business, their mission is to make sure that businesses succeed and do well. And they've done a fine job. The Chamber's growing, and you know, just going up and down the street, you can do that if you wish when you leave here, but you won't find any empty buildings saying for rent. You know, this place stays full with people that wants to come to Middletown. You know, not only do we have the chamber and the other functions, Middletown touts itself. It's got the largest VFW in Middletown in the state of Kentucky. It's got the largest church in Kentucky and probably the fourth or fifth in the United States. It is the largest growth, as we talked about. It's have the largest indoor and outdoor sports complex about a mile north of here. We have the newest police department in the state of Kentucky. We just formed our police department about 3 months ago, so we're very proud of that. And all I'll say is we've got the tallest mayor in this whole area. You know, I worked with the developers, I worked with the architect, the different people on the development of this project. For a good many months, we got the pencil out and the paper out, and we started doing our design and sketches and what needed to do and how we need to make it look, how we need to make it work for both parties. It was an enjoyable adventure. I'm very pleased with the outlook of what we've got. I think if you take a look at these renderings when it's finished, especially, and of course, just looking at these, it's nice. It's what Middletown demands, if you would, or requires or suggested, and these guys have stepped up to the plate to make sure that happened. So I do want to give a proclamation, as Chanel did. Our proclamations in Middletown, in fact, I've got one to do tomorrow. That's just how the city's growing. When I give a proclamation, it's my promise to the business that's coming to the city what we can provide for them. But it's a two-way street. It's a proclamation that they proclaim to us that they will support our city and make sure that they see this continued growth and doing well and employment and all the factors that go with you. So I do have this proclamation. I won't read it other than I will say it's from the heart of Louisville. That's what we call Middletown. Sorry, man. But we are making Middletown's Affordable Housing Day, and we look forward to the many happy days and years together. Thank you.
And finally, we have our Mayor Fisher, and as you heard before, none of this would be possible if he had not seen fit to fund both CARES and the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So we thank you, and come on up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you. Well, I've got to say, it was like a dream come true to hear all those projects announced here. I mean, the bottom line is if you don't have stable housing, it is hard to be productive in life. And one of the great timing issues of our administration is that we were able to come out of the Great Recession and get out of these kind of emergency budgets and get to a place where we could start funding affordable housing. And my administration is committed to affordable housing and will do as much as we can. Helping us with that, I really want to commend Councilman Bill Hollander. Bill, if you come up here, please. You know, he's low-key in public, but he's a fierce advocate for affordable housing. And the full funding of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund may not have happened were it not for Councilman Hollander. He saw it fit to rally the council members to make sure that that is something that they could all agree on. And when that happens, it goes in the budget. So, Bill, you're a hero for many, many people in this community that will have a roof over their head were it not for you. So I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. And it's appropriate. Look, our city is going through a real renaissance right now. We've got 70,000 new jobs, $13 billion of construction taking place in the community. So it's important for us as Louisvillians to express our values, that it's great that all that is going on. Make sure that this investment is making sure that everybody is along for the ride. And as I said, it all starts with housing. So I am proud of using your all's money, and that includes you too here in Middletown, Mayor. Okay, you're part of Louisville, don't forget that. So it's using the citizens' money. And over these past couple years, almost $30 million of our citizens' money has gone into affordable housing in these past two budgets. And that's when you hear all these projects coming out. And there's going to be lots more of them as well. As Christy said, and we appreciate your great leadership, this money is going to be recycling through. So it's not just these projects. They get paid down. They go again. There's more and more funding comes into this so that we can do more. We have a need for about 60,000 affordable housing units in this community. So this is a beautiful day today, but it's really just a down payment on what needs to be done. So let's make sure that we continue to advocate locally, but also nationally. Look, the United States of America is the richest country on the face of the earth as it's measured by macro financial wealth. We are not the richest country on the face of the earth as it relates to providing housing for every citizen, providing health care for every citizen, providing food security for every citizen, and there are plenty of countries that do that. Okay, so we can do that too. So it's important while we operate tactically here at the city level and grow our housing funds that we also advocate at the federal level and the state level that housing and food and health care are something that every American can have. And the reality is it's a great investment. Because what happens now in our society is we pay for the consequences later of not having housing and health care and food. So let's smarten up as a country and a state and invest in those up front. And I'm emphasizing the federal and state because that's where the big money comes from. We can operate locally, and we're going to continue to improve here locally, but major systems change happens at the federal and state level, and major systems change happens when we advocate to our federal officials. And then if those that are in office don't agree with us, we register people to vote, and we vote for people that do agree with these type of values. I mean, that's what democracy is all about, and these votes do matter. I want to thank Middletown Mayor Byron Chapman. You've been a great partner over the 7 years that we've been working together, both on development, and there's an awful lot of good things going on here in Middletown. But when you step up and welcome affordable housing to your community, there are a lot of people in this community that can learn from you for doing that, Byron. So I appreciate your leadership. Thank you. All right. I think we know what we're talking about there. Affordable housing should be everywhere. Middletown, Prospect, Linden, Valley Station. And that's what makes strong communities. And sometimes people are fearful for whatever reason of things that they don't know about. So it's important that they can see examples of how affordable housing everywhere enriches our city everywhere. So I want to thank everybody here for being on the front lines of this battle that's been going on for quite some time. Let's make sure that we continue to accelerate your progress, and I commit to you that you certainly have a friend in the mayor's office that will do that as well. Thanks, everybody. Congratulations.
So we know what it takes. It takes work. It takes working together. It takes your funding. It takes making the voices and people real that are impacted by the crises and the ills in our community. It takes a village. And I think we all are forming this village. And I thank you for being the village for those that don't have a voice, for those that need affordable housing. We're going to go outside and break ground for this great project.
On 3, 2, 1.